Hey guys, it's Josh here, and in today's video I'm going to share with you a no bullshit healing framework that saved my marriage and my business. So in 2023, I went through a period of emotional frustration, right? I was recently married. I got married in 2022, right? We also had our baby, our daughter, in 2022. And so 2023 was the first year that I was a parent, that I was married, that I was a husband, and also that I was a stay-at-home, that my wife was a stay-at-home mother. So we wanted to set up our family in a way where she was a stay-at-home mum and I was the sole income provider for the family, right? And so all of this created a lot of pressure for me. It was the first time I had done any of this, right? I was used to just taking care of myself. And you know, to have now the responsibility of a wife and a daughter, it brought up a lot of, emotional frustration, right? So I would be getting triggered by, little things that my wife would do. I would be getting triggered about spending money, and I would then get frustrated, and sometimes I would kind of project that outwardly onto her. However, at the same time, I knew that that just wasn't the kind of person that I wanted to be. That wasn't the kind of man that I wanted to be. And it definitely wasn't the kind of husband or father that I wanted to be, right? I wanted to create a family dynamic where we had safety and connection and love. And I realized that as the leader of the family, I needed to do a lot of work on myself so that I wasn't getting frustrated. I knew that if I was getting frustrated, then it was something that I could work on within myself, right? That I could resolve within myself. So I set out to basically learn to manage my stress and my anxiousness and my frustration better than what I was currently doing. And this led me to find this no bullshit healing framework that I'm about to share with you now. So in this video, I'm going to actually walk you through the exact framework that helped me to break through my triggers. Now, what I realized when I was going through this was that the reason I was getting triggered was because there was a deeper emotional wound around not feeling good enough, right? Not feeling good enough when it came to business, when it came to being a man, when it came to having enough money, all that kind of stuff. So there was a deeper wound around not feeling good enough, and that was being projected outwardly as a frustration, borderline kind of anger, right? Sometimes I'd get pissed off about it. So I want to share with you today exactly what I did to resolve that issue. And I really believe that it saved my marriage and it improved my business, right? The following year, 2024, business doubled, nearly even tripled actually. And my marriage just got so much better. And now we're about to have another baby. We've got another baby due in June. So I'll have, now we'll have 4 of us. We'll have 2 kids and me and my wife, which is awesome, right? I'm pumped for it. I'm excited. I feel good about it. I don't feel worried about it like I did in the past. So anyway, this is a 6-step process, right? It is a 6-step process. And again, I just want to walk through this quickly with you guys today. I don't want to waste too much of your time. But one thing that I will suggest is that you can grab your journal if you have a journal handy. Right? I always keep my journal pretty much within arm's distance. If you have a journal handy, grab that now, because this process that I'm about to give you, I actually paid a coach about $5,000 to teach me this. And I'm giving it to you guys pretty much for free. Now, of course, when you get coaching and mentorship, there's always nuances, and you get to have more personal guidance, which I do get from my coach. But I'll give you the process at least that I learned, which has been a game changer for me, and which has been a game changer for so many of my other clients who are business owners, who have families, and not even business owners, but sometimes just business professionals who are going through that stickiness in their relationship, right? So if you've been having any kind of relationship issues, or even a stuckness in business, emotional frustration, some stress and anxiety building up, this is going to be great to understand where it comes from. One more thing I will add, right, is that most people think that you just have to live with stress and anxiety and frustration. Most people have a belief that, this is just a normal part of life. And although it is to a degree, everyone feels those same emotions, the way I look at it is it's like a scale, right? So you can have a high level of emotional intensity where your emotions are really kind of running the show and fucking with you. And if that's happening, it's a clear sign that you need to do some work on yourself or some healing work, right? To shift that high level emotional intensity. And then once you get it under control, which is what I've learned to do, and what I've helped a lot of other people do, the emotional intensity just comes down. And so you still feel things, but it's just not as intense, and it's kind of, not as hard to get through, and you find more balance and you find more flow. And that's exactly what I've learned through this process. So let me just share with you a bit of an intro to this process so that you understand it, right? Imagine this is now, right? And this is the future, okay? So over here you've got your goals as well, right? Goals, future goals, and this is present reality. So present reality, you're over here, and you've got these future goals, which is over here. So on your journey to get to your goals, which I believe that you will be able to do, right? If you stick to it and you commit, you'll be able to achieve your goals. But on your journey to your goals, it won't be a straight line like that. It just won't be, right? It's going to be more like this, right? You go up, and then you go down, and then you go up, and then you go down, and then you go up, and then you go down, and then you go up, and then you go down, and then you get to your goal, right? So you're going to have these positive experiences, and then you're going to have these negative experiences, okay? So, let's just say you go on you got holiday, right? You go on a family holiday, and it's like joyful, right? Joy. New client or job promo, right? And now you're happy, right? Maybe you just feel, you go through a period where you feel really calm and really at peace, right? All of these things are good things, right? But then, so you think they're positive things, right? Because they are. You have happiness, you have joy, you have calm, you have peace, and obviously, those are good things. Now, what also happens is you're going to have these experiences where you feel some, let's say, fear or anxiety, right? So like right now, this video is being made in April 2025, economic issues, right? And then just like housing crisis, trade wars, fear, anxiety, right? Or something else happens, you get rejected by someone, and then you have like low self-worth. You get rejected by someone at work, or you don't get the pay rise, you don't get the job offer, or you don't get the new client, whatever it is, and then you get, you feel like shit, you feel like I'm not good enough, low self-worth, right? And then maybe you have this frustration, or anger as well, right? And these are, the negative experiences. We think those are negative experiences and these are positive experiences. But the reality is you're going to have both of these negative and positive experiences to get to your future goal. But if you're constantly going up like this and down like this, up like this and down like this, it's going to take you more time to get to where you want to go. Now, what I'm going to suggest is that you take a faster route, right? Which is like this, right? So you're more balanced, right? And you still have your ups and your downs, but you're just more balanced. And so you're not traveling as far. You just kind of you're balanced, you're calm, and you're just getting there, right? So wouldn't you want a faster, easier, simpler way to get to your goals if you could, right? That's what I'm suggesting today. I'm suggesting that there is a faster, easier way to get to your goals that doesn't require you to have these high highs and low lows, to have this extreme emotional intensity, okay? And what I'm going to share with you today is how we make that happen. So, here's what we're going to do, right? Get your journal out, if you haven't already, and let's go through the process, right? No BS healing framework. Okay, so step one. I want you to actually do this right now. Step one, right? Write this down. Step one. What is the negative recurring pattern? Okay, so there's going to be some negative recurring pattern that you're experiencing right? If you're still watching this video and you're interested in doing this and you resonated with what I've already said so far, then it's probably because you've got some negative recurring pattern, right? So what is that? Firstly, we just need to identify what is the negative recurring pattern that you're experiencing. So write that down. Could be, in my case, frustration in my relationship with my wife, right? Or back in 2023, business growth not going as fast as I want it to go, right? Feeling stuck, right, in business, and then that's causing frustration in relationships, right? What is it that you're experiencing, right? Could be, constant overthinking and anxiety around social situations, right? Could be anything like that, right? Maybe you're drinking too much, taking drugs, and then that's affecting your relationships. Could be the business problems, right? Could be just general relationship issues or social issues. Whatever it is, right? What is the negative recurring pattern that you're experiencing in your life right now? Write that down. Okay, and then step 2. Okay, so we've got to find the external attachment. So what's the external attachment, right? And the way that we find that, and I'll explain this in a second, but when I have ... I will finally feel ... So back in 2023, I was not even making $10,000 a month in my business, right? I was making less than $10,000 a month. And also it was inconsistent, right? So some months I would have close to 10 grand a month, and some months I would have low, only 4 or 3 or 4 grand a month. And so I was on this kind of seesaw of up and down with my business revenue, right? And what I found when I did this was when I have $10,000 a month, I will finally feel good enough. So for me, there was a recurring pattern, which was the frustration in my business and relationship. And again, I'm just sharing with you guys transparently, so don't judge me, right? I'm just a human. But there was, frustration in my business, in my relationships, right? Then when I looked at the external attachment, I realized that I had this attachment of when I have $10,000 a month, I'll finally feel good enough. So I was attaching myself to this monetary value. That was the external attachment. I need to have $10,000 a month in my business, and if I don't have that, then I don't feel like I'm good enough, right? And so that not good enough was what was causing me to feel frustration, right? This is the thing. Usually we have these external attachments, and if we don't have what we think that we want, it causes us to feel a certain way. So the idea here is that your recurring pattern is being caused by some kind of external attachment or really a limiting belief about what you think that you need to feel a certain way. And for me, again, it was when I have 10 grand a month, I'll finally feel good enough, right? So obviously we don't want to have that external attachment, right? I want to feel good enough regardless of how much money I have, right? And so this leads us into step 3, right? Which is to unpack the unconscious program. So the idea here is that if you've got these limiting beliefs, like for example in my case, when I have $10,000 a month, I'll finally feel good enough, it's coming from some kind of subconscious or unconscious place. Because consciously, I wasn't thinking that. I wasn't thinking, I'm getting frustrated at my wife, or I'm getting frustrated in my business because I'm not earning this much money, and because I'm not earning that much money, I don't feel like I'm good enough. I wasn't consciously thinking that, right? So the power of a framework like this is you get to go a little deeper and you get to realize, what's going on underneath the surface, right? In your unconscious or subconscious mind. So this, when I have 10K a month, I'll put that here as an example, but for you it could be anything, right? Without going too far ahead just yet, for you, it could be anything. It could be like when I have a perfect relationship, when I have a partner who loves me, when I have, just a calm mind, right? I'll finally feel, For me, it was good enough. For you, it might feel like when I have a partner, I'll finally feel loved. When I have a calm mind, I'll finally feel at peace. When I have, this amount of money, I'll finally feel worthy or good enough or satisfied. Whatever it is, right? That's an unconscious program. So I had a program in my head which is like, you need to have this much money, and if you don't have that much money, then you're not good enough, right? And so that's coming from a deeper, unconscious, limiting belief or program that I'm not good enough, right? So the way that we look at that is we go, okay, cool, find the external attachment. When I have 10 grand a month, I'll finally feel good enough. Unpack the unconscious program, right? When did I feel a similar way earlier in life, right? So, most people will say this. They'll say, I don't have trauma. I don't have any emotional trauma. I don't have anything big like that. My childhood was pretty good. And nothing really happened. My parents were pretty good. Yada, yada, yada. Okay? Sweet. Maybe they were. My parents were pretty good as well, right? And for the longest time, I probably didn't think that I had any of that like trauma either. However, once I looked at it, I realized that there were certain things, right? And once upon a time, when I was a teenager, I used to just play the victim card, right? So I would say like, oh no, there's nothing wrong with me, and it's all good, and I don't have any trauma. But at the same time, I would be playing this victim card. It's like, why is this happening to me? Why aren't people understanding me? Or why am I getting in trouble for this? Or it was always like, why me? Why me? Why me? Right? So I was on one hand playing this like victim card, but on the other hand not thinking that I had any issues. So most people will say that. They'll say, I don't have any issues, but then they'll wonder why they are experiencing what they're experiencing in life. So with this work, you really have to have an honest self-reflection, like a no bullshit self-reflection, and just allow yourself to look at yourself more honestly and a little bit more truthfully. Let your guard down for a second and just at least look, right? So when I did that, right, when I went into the unconscious program, when did I feel a similar way earlier in my life? And I'll walk you through how to do this in a second. Basically, I closed down my eyes, did a little meditation. Okay, I'm thinking about this pattern, right? Frustration, my relationship, my marriage, business. When I have this much money, I'll finally feel this way. Cool. When did I feel a similar way earlier in my life? And I started to realize, there's these memories of like, when this happened, with my dad, or when this happened at school. That made me feel a similar way. So what I'm about to share with you right now is something that you've got to take a journey from the head to the heart. What I'm about to share with you right now is not something that you're going to be able to intellectualize or understand through the mind, but you need to feel through your heart. Okay? So if you've been following along with this, you've written down a negative recurring pattern. You've identified an external attachment. When I have this thing, I'll finally feel this way. And now we're going to look at this unconscious program. So I'll invite you just for the next few minutes to just rest back into your chair and put your hands in your lap and just take a deep breath. You can close down your eyes with me. Just take a deep breath, close down your eyes, and really relax back into your chair. Just become nice and relaxed. We're going to do a short little guided meditation just to give you an experience of this process. So take another deep breath. Let it all go. And I invite you to just think about that recurring pattern that you're experiencing in your life. What's that negative, persistent pattern that just won't go away? It's really bothering you. Take a deep breath. Now, what's that external attachment? When I have this thing that I think that I need, I'll finally feel this way. I'll finally feel this thing that I want to feel, or that I feel like I need to feel. Cool. Now just really tap into that energy and that feeling for a second. And then we're going to go to step 3, which is unpack the unconscious program. So take another deep breath in and go a little deeper. when did I feel a similar way earlier in my life? So it might be 5 years ago, it might be 10 years ago, maybe it's 15 years ago, maybe it's even 20, 30, even 40 years ago, right? Depending on how old you are. But take a deep breath and try to clear your mind and open your heart. When did you feel a similar way earlier in your life? And you might notice that there's some memories or some thoughts that are kind of bubbling up from inside of you. Try not to overthink it. Just allow some space to feel that memory from when you were younger. And if something's sticking out in the front of your mind, then just allow it to be there and just sit with it for a second. If nothing's coming to you, then really try to consciously bring your awareness and your attention down to your heart and feel. When did you feel a similar way earlier in your life? And we're all going to take a deep breath and let it go. And now if you've got a memory, I'm going to invite you just to gently move towards that memory in your mind. So start to get a picture for your younger self, however old you were. Start to get a picture of where you were in that experience, of what was happening. And see if you can start to get a sense for how you were feeling. So take a deep breath. Just allow yourself to feel whatever you need to feel. Allow that energy to move through your body. Look at your younger self and just get that sense for what they were feeling. And allow yourself to feel that feeling. Don't try to resist it. Don't try to change it. Just allow yourself to feel it. When you're ready, you can look towards your younger self and give yourself a big hug. Just go into that memory now and just give yourself a big hug and let yourself know that everything is okay and that you will be okay. Let yourself know that you're safe, that you're loved, that you are good enough, or whatever else you feel like you need to tell your younger self. Just tell them that now. When you're ready, you can take a nice deep breath in and let it all go on the exhale. Spend a few more moments here with your younger self, and then when you're ready, you can say goodbye. Give them another squeeze, another hug. Say goodbye. And come back to your body, come back to the present moment. Take another big deep breath in. And let it all go. And then when you're ready, you can open up your eyes. Cool, great work. If you feel emotional, that's normal, right? If you didn't feel anything, that's okay as well. Sometimes that can be quite an emotional process. Sometimes you might need to go through it a couple of times just to get the feel for it. And that's fine, you're allowed to do that as well. I'm giving you the framework, so if you want to revisit it, you can. But let's just carry on. So the idea is that there's an old part of you, there's a younger self that's carrying these suppressed emotions and these limiting beliefs, right? Like, I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, I'm not safe, whatever it is, I'm not loved, whatever it is, right? So there's an old part of you that's carrying that. And we want to learn how to let go of that, okay? When we let go of that, we're allowing ourselves to mature and to evolve and to grow as people, right? So this was, again, transformative for me as I became a husband, a father, and a business owner. I was able to let go of myself, or the part of myself that felt like he wasn't good enough, and I was able to embody a new version of myself where I feel good enough, I feel loved, I feel safe, and everything becomes a lot easier and a lot more effortless when I'm operating from this place. So that brings me to the next point, right? Step 4 is to embody the new identity. Okay? So if there's an old version of you who maybe didn't feel good enough, or felt like a lack or scarcity, or not loved, or not supported, or not safe, or whatever it was, I want you to choose a new version of yourself, embody the new identity. So choose a new identity, okay? And it's really quite simple. And you can elaborate on this and you can go deeper on this, and I'll explain that in a second. But let's just keep it simple for now. Just choose a new identity. If before you weren't good enough, now you're good enough. Now you're confident. Now you're abundant, right? Now you're loved. Now you're worthy, right? If before you were maybe this frustrated, or in my case, if I was like a frustrated, entrepreneur, then now I'm an abundant entrepreneur, okay? If before I was an emotionally reactive husband, now I'm a grounded, calm, and centered husband, okay? So there's the contrast between the old self and the new identity. So what I'm suggesting for you here is to choose a new identity. Just choose. It's pretty much going to be the flip side of whatever you were carrying. I'm going to suggest that you just flip it, right? And again, we'll talk about this more in a second. But step 5, right? There's 6 steps here, so we're almost done. Step 5 is to connect to your heart. So once you've chosen a new identity, and again, don't overthink this. Like I said, if I was the frustrated entrepreneur, now I'm the abundant entrepreneur. If I was the emotionally reactive husband, now I'm the grounded husband, right? So it's just simple like that, right? Try not to overthink it, just switch it up, right? If you're someone who's an emotionally reactive parent and you want to be a calm and grounded parent. If you're someone who's an anxious business owner, now you want to be a confident and peaceful business owner. Those are some more examples, right? Once you've done that, I'm going to just ask you to place your hand on your heart, one hand on your heart, one hand on your belly. Take a deep breath. Let it all go. Take another deep breath. Let it all go. And one more time, but this time when you breathe in, connect to your heart. So bring your attention to your heart, breathing in. And as you exhale, say to yourself, when I connect to my heart, I finally feel. When I connect to my heart, right? When I connect to my heart, I finally feel. ... What do you feel? What do you feel? So take again, hand on your heart. When I connect to my heart, I finally feel. Usually there's going to be like a word that comes to your mind. Maybe it's peaceful, maybe it's love, maybe it's good enough, maybe it's safe, right? Maybe it's worthy. When I connect to my heart, I feel those things. So the point here is to realize that you don't need whatever you thought you needed. You don't need, in my case, I didn't need the $10,000 a month to feel good enough. When I realized that I can connect to my heart, I can already feel good enough. I already feel abundant. I already feel safe. And when you can feel that, when you can be that now, the things that you want will come to you quickly. And again, like I said, I did this I did this exercise in 2023, right? It was the first time that I did this, right? And in 2024, right? 3x business, right? It was about 3x. It was probably like, it was actually probably like 2.7x, okay? Business, right? My business like doubled, nearly tripled in revenue, and also, second baby, right? On my way, second baby on the way. Right? The year after I started to do this, I nearly tripled my business and we got pregnant with another baby. So the reason I share this framework is because it has actually been so transformative in my life, and I just want to share it because it's just, it's very helpful, right? And And there's one more point, right? Step 6. And this is something that's really, really important to understand, right? And a lot of people fail this bit, right? Which is integration, right? So you might have had an experience just now where you felt something emotionally, maybe you felt a shift, right? That's great, awesome. But once is not enough, right? You can't just do something once and think it's going to change your life forever, right? It takes time and it takes integration, okay? I was working with that coach for the whole year, 2023, the whole year, and I was doing that over and over and over again, right? And I was integrating the new self, letting go of the old self, integrating the new self, right? People get this wrong. They think with manifestation, you're just meant to click your fingers and things just supposed to happen, or you're supposed to be able to do this thing once and it will just magically change everything, right? It's not like that. It just doesn't work like that. This idea of like a quick fix or some kind of just magic solution, it just doesn't exist, right? You need to have integration, right? You need to be willing to put into the integration, right? But when you do this, everything becomes, right, easier, right, faster, and better, right? Everything becomes effortless, right? Everything becomes effortless. And I'm not just saying that. Like, when you really focus on getting your energy right, healing all your emotional shit from the past and getting your energy right, like clearing out all of the dead weight from the past and getting your energy right in the present, everything becomes easier, things move faster, everything gets better, and literally things just become effortless. So you've got to focus on integration, right? So, like I said, you can take this framework, you can steal this framework and you can run with it by yourself. But if you want more help, right? If you want more help, right? You want your own coach, you want your own mentor, you want someone to give you some guidance and to give you some support, then I can help, right? So at the end of this video, I'll put another video where you can watch me basically explain how I help people go from anxiety to alignment. So I'll share the video at the end of this one, and I'll also put a link in the description below this video so you can go to my website and you can watch that free training on my website where I'll just show you how I can help you go from anxiety to alignment. So, if this is helpful for you and, you are aware that you've got some emotional stuff that you need to work on, and you want to change that and you want to shift that energy, you want a no bullshit path to healing and changing your life and transforming maybe your marriage or maybe your business or, just your own self, then go watch that video about how I can help, right? Mainly I help a lot of people with anxiety, but also, emotional reactivity, sometimes frustrations and angers. And if you actually look at those things, usually they're coming from a deeper fear anyway, fear of not being good enough or something like that. And so if you want help with that stuff, I can help. Go watch that next video. I hope you found this helpful. Use it. Go over it again and again. It's helpful stuff. It's really good. And if you do want more help, if you want help with that integration, if you want that support and you want that guidance, go watch the video at the end of this one or check the link in the description. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate you being here and I will see you soon. Bye.